Welcome to a new season of The Girls. We're so excited, Jeannine, as we always are, because we love doing these episodes of The Girls. We get out, we have so much fun.
We're on location. I'm so happy we're out of Zoom. I get to see my mom in person and touch her. See, like that?
Well, we're excited because you just touched me with that big rock.
We have some news. I said we might be telling them some news, and I got engaged. So,
Yeah, so we have a big wedding coming up.
We have a wedding to plan. The wedding, everyone keeps asking the date. It's July 14th, 2023. Marrying my best friend, Jeff George.
And who's your wedding planner?
My mom's my wedding planner. All your questions I want to answer here, because instead of just answering everyone separately, because I got some questions on Facebook and that stuff. My daughter's my maid of honor. My son is my best man. My Rosie, my Shih Tzu, is my flower girl. And Gucci, Fabio, my mom's dog, is the ring bear, right?
Yep.
So I should say ring dog. But anyway, so we're
He's
excited.
bearing the ring, so he's carrying the rings down.
Yeah,
in
we're
his
going to be
little
doing
tuxedo.
a wedding series following the wedding. I'm getting married at Edgewood. Where else would I get married? Johnny Sheamus' place, Edgewood. And we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about how to pick your venue, how to pick your flowers.
How to handle the bridezilla.
No, it's Motherzilla. Mother of the Bridezilla. I already got my dress, okay? I tried on 4 dresses. Mom, she's still trying on dresses. She brought 2 already.
No.
Just saying.
Jeannine, the first one I tried on was this ugly pale pink blush, like with the color of my skin. Hello. The dress was pretty, but it wasn't for me. And then
This is
I
a
went
whole
out,
show right here.
And the biggest part is, I'm not going to tell you what I ended up with, but I got my dress on sale because I love sales, and it was under $50.
She has 2 dresses at home. Then we'll talk about getting your dress altered, where you should go for that, how much time it takes, all this fun stuff.
Yeah,
but we're doing a
doing
beach theme because Jeff and I love Florida, so we're doing a beach theme. So we'll take you along for the wedding festivities.
But you're getting married in a church.
We are getting married in the Catholic Church. Very important. St. John Bosco is where we're getting officially married, and then we'll head over for the party at Edgewood. So it's going to be fun and intimate.
Intimate wedding with family and friends.
Yes.
And party.
Party time. So we're here at the Lehigh Valley Health Network. We're at the Health and Wellness Center. A few months ago, we had gotten our mammograms, and I did a little post on Facebook, and people were receptive to that. And we want to remind people, I have some friends who, and you know who you are, who don't want to come and get their mammograms because they're scared of what they will find. Well, that's the key. Early detection is the key. So we're
Right,
here.
and they don't always find something, so you may just have a normal checkup. But no matter what you're doing in whatever phase of your life you're in, like with your wedding, the first thing you do is go get everything checked out, make sure you're healthy. So that should be part of it, part of the checklist. And part of your checklist every year should be, you go get your car checked for an inspection, go get yourself checked, and go get all of your checkups at the doctor. People spend more time on their house and their car than they do on themselves. So you're worth it, you deserve it, get your checkups.
You're the best investment. You got to, I know it's time consuming, it could be aggravating,
No, it's a day out.
It's a copay, or it's this, but it's the time where the most important thing is to invest in your own health.
Exactly. If you don't take care of yourself, no one else will. And God forbid, something is found, at least they find it early, and you could take care of it.
Yeah, so we do have an exciting season coming up because we have some people on that have gone through either cancer, transplants. Oh yeah, the transplants. We have someone coming on who is following her dreams. She's 18 years old and she is an up and coming model.
All right.
People told her she couldn't do it, and she's doing it. So we're having her on the show.
And with the great response we had to having people on who had some anxiety issues, excuse me for my anxiety right there, but we do have someone who's going to talk about losing someone in their family, how they cope with that stress too as well. So yeah, we're covering all the bases. It's not just for girls, it's for women. Everything we show is for everybody, and we hope they have as much fun as we do.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. If I can convince my daughter to come on this season, we should mention that Lori, my sister-in-law, will be on the show. She comes on guest appearances. We're hoping to have Alyssa on with us and Isabella Lesante, my niece, for some of the episodes, especially when we go and we look for all the wedding stuff. So it's going to be really fun. And we want you to have some fun this season too, right?
Yeah. And if you have any ideas of what you'd like to see, just get in touch with us through Facebook or somewhere, because we're always doing a lot of Facebook Live.
We are doing hair and makeup too, so we'll talk about that. We have that coming up.
Don't forget that.
So, without further ado, we are going to take a short break, and thank you to our sponsors. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go through the process. So if you've never had a mammogram or you haven't had one in a while, I know.
It's sparkling, and I have to wear my sunglasses.
Had one in a while. We are going to come right back. My mom is going to get her mammogram, and we're going to answer all of your questions that came in before the show. If you have questions after the show, we can arrange to get those answered for you as well.
Okay, we'll be right back.
And welcome back. We're here at the Health and Wellness Center in Greater Hazleton for Lehigh Valley. We're with my mom and Deb, the technician. You're going to see a mammogram take place. A little disclaimer here, masks are required for the purpose of the show. I just took my mask off, and Debbie and my mom took their masks off too. So thank you for having us in. We're excited to be here. This show was prompted, I had a mammogram back in October, and I just did a little post on my Facebook page, and people seemed really receptive to it, and to remind people to get their mammograms. Some people don't want to get a mammogram because they're embarrassed, with the process, but you're literally in here for 5 minutes.
Yes.
So talk about that. See my mom's little back here. She's going to get her boobies checked.
So typically when you come in for your mammogram, we do 4 views, 2 pictures of each breast. The first 2 pictures are from head to toe, so top down. The second 2 pictures are called oblique pictures, and they're just kind of from an angle, a 45-degree angle from the side. Sometimes women have breast tissue or the fibrous tissue in their breast that kind of extend under their armpits a little bit, so we may turn you a little bit more to pull that extra tissue out, just in case you have that. We want to make sure we get everything.
So when you first come in, we showed how they come and they register really quick. You wait for your name to be called. You go in the little dressing room, you put on this cute little comfy robe, and you're not like coming in here like naked. You
No.
have something on.
Yeah, so we keep the gown on the entire time.
Right, so you're only concealing the part or taking off the part that you're working on at the time.
Correct.
So that was a big thing with privacy with people who didn't want to get them done, and questions about if there was pain involved, maybe a little discomfort.
Discomfort. I mean, we have to put some pressure on the breast tissue to spread the breast tissue out on the inside so we can see through it clearly. But there's like that compromise of what's uncomfortable versus what's borderline painful. So if it starts to become a little more uncomfortable on the painful side, then you just tell us and we stop pressing.
All right, well, without further ado, let's see what you do here.
Okay, let's bring your left hand over here. There's a little handle. We're going to drop this down, and I want you to come toward me just a little bit more. I'm going to put your hair behind your neck. Good. I'm just going to lift your breast tissue. Okay, keep your chin up nice and high for me. You're going to feel some pressure right here in front of your collarbone. Okay, and you may feel some right in front of your sternum. And we just kind of use our hands to guide. Make sure everything is nice and smooth, all the tissue is evenly displaced. How are you doing?
I'm great.
You feeling any pain?
No.
Okay. We tend to ask that question multiple times because some women are a little more, sensitive than others, so we ask multiple times. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
All right, so this is where we would leave the room or leave the machine and go back and take the picture.
And then you say, hold your breath.
Hold your breath. Takes about 7 seconds because this is a 3D machine. It does like a tomogram sweep, so it sweeps from head to toe. So it takes like a scan of the breast tissue, not just two-dimensional picture.
All right, so you do different scans, correct?
Yes. Well, each picture we take is a scan.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
No,
Let's get you covered up there.
Great.
And that's it.
That's it. We do 4 pictures, and then you're back out of here in about 5-7 minutes.
Okay. Are there any other common questions that we should be covering when it comes to the actual machine? I know there's certain things to prep before you come, like no deodorant. What are some of the things?
No deodorant, no powders, no perfumes, no lotions. Deodorant, and that's, people often ask why no deodorant. Deodorant actually has a particle in it. It's called aluminum chlorohydrate. It's like little teeny tiny flecks of tin, and that clogs the pores, which causes you to not perspire. But those little tiny flecks of tin can show up in your in the skin, and it can mimic a breast calcification, which calcifications can be a sign of a cancer or a precancerous condition. So that's why we say no deodorant.
And then what is the rule with getting the COVID shot, or how long you should wait before getting the mammogram?
The rule has really pretty much been lifted. However, within 6 weeks after having the COVID vaccine, you probably should not have a mammogram done. There's something called lymphadenopathy, which is where the lymph nodes under the arms can swell. That can be a sign of a problem as well. So we don't want to have a false positive of lymph node swelling, and then we'd have to like do an ultrasound or other kind of imaging to make sure that that's really nothing going on within your lymph nodes. So that's why we say give it about 6 weeks after your COVID vaccine before you come in for a mammogram.
Does anything else affect the reading?
Typically no. I mean, years ago we used to say no caffeine for like 48 hours. Caffeine is a stimulant. If you have cystic breast, that caffeine can cause cysts to swell. So, we used to say no caffeine for, 48 to 72 hours. We don't really hold true to that as much anymore. But yeah, I mean, if you can back down on caffeine a little bit.
Are the tests the same if you have implants?
The tests are the same if you have implants, except we do actually 2 sets of mammograms. We do the first one with the implant in place, but we don't put a lot of compression because we don't want to take any risk of damaging the implant. Then we go back and we repeat it, but this time we try to actually shift the implant back and pull just breast tissue forward. So it's kind of a little bit of a pinching sensation, but that's just in the manipulation of getting the implant out of the way.
And that's the information that you fill out with your paperwork here?
Yes, that's one of the questions, is do you have breast implants? And then we have a flyer or a form that you have to read before we actually do the procedure with the implants, because you basically have to give us permission to be able to do it that way.
And if you're pregnant, can you get a mammogram?
You should not get a mammogram if you're pregnant. You should not get a mammogram if you're breastfeeding. You should actually stop breastfeeding for about 6 months before getting a mammogram done. But if you develop a problem, if you have a lump, you should never hesitate on getting that checked out.
And I know I'm not Mike, so I'm going to step into you. This is also for men, not just for women.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And should men, I had 2 more questions. Should men get their mammogram the same as women when they turn 40 and every year?
No.
Okay.
Typically, men will only get a mammogram if they're having a problem, a breast lump, a fullness, that kind of thing. As a screening tool, no.
And what if you have a precondition, like if you're being treated for cancer?
If you're being treated for a breast cancer, then you want to, check with your physician and go by his guideline as far as when you should have your next mammogram after having surgery and or any kind of therapy or treatment.
But if you have other forms of
cancers are
okay,
no issues.
Awesome. I think we covered everything here. So from the mammogram room, then you get dressed, right?
Yes.
And then we're going to be talking with the doctor who actually reads the mammograms. All right, stay with us. You're watching The Girls here on SSP TV. Hey, welcome back. You're watching The Girls here on SSP TV. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, locally on cable, and also check us out on ssptv.com. We're here with the Lehigh Valley Health Network at the Health and Wellness Center. Mom just got a mammogram, and now we're with Dr. William Harder, the radiologist, to talk about the process after you get the mammogram. You're the man who reads the results, right?
Correct. Thank you for visiting us today.
Thanks for having us.
You've seen out front how you can check in and how the images are created. Once they are placed on the computer here, as you can see in the background, that's where I do my part of the work. The images are instantly sent over, so you don't need to worry about how long it's going to take. One of the important things that we ask people are, if you have old mammograms, let us know where they're at. If they're at our facilities, that's wonderful. If they're from somewhere else, the more distant they are, the longer they're going to take. So if you give us a heads up on those films, we can certainly get them here and do the comparison. And that would be one of the few things that slow down the process. Generally, we try to have your report out within 24 hours, and you can pick those up on your My LVN when the report comes out. You get it at the same time as your physician.
I know that the mammogram was very comfortable for me, and I do like the part about knowing that after I have the mammogram, I can then go to my portal and there's usually a report there. I did pre-register when I did mine, which you mentioned about doing, so that they were able to see where my other mammograms were, which they were here, but they were able to have them available to compare. So how important is that comparison when you're looking at that, the mammograms from year to year?
Well, if we were looking for something wrong on your mammogram, some things are very obvious. There could be abnormal calcifications, there could be abnormal masses. Some of them are not good or bad when we're looking at them initially, that indeterminate category. In that case, you would receive a report from us saying, we've seen something on your mammogram and we'd really like you to come back and schedule so that we can do a more defined workup. That could be additional mammographic images. It may have other modalities such as ultrasound, or in some cases magnetic resonance imaging. But no matter what we find that day when we're working up the incident, what we would do is I'll generally call the patient in and we'll talk about it, what we saw. I can tell them, it looks very happy. We'll follow it up. You go back to your normal screening mammogram, 1 year apart. We're not still certain, so come back in 6 months. It won't make much difference if it changes or not changes, but it could give us an indication whether it's something we want to proceed with a different thing like a biopsy. Or that day, if it's troublesome, we would tell them, we believe you really need a biopsy. That may be under mammogram, it may be under ultrasound. But we tell the patient that, we give them all the options. Our ladies will navigate them from that point on. These are your options. These are the available people who can do the biopsies. These are the sites available. They're not held into one spot. And then I would furthermore call their physician up and explain the same things.
So Dr. Harder, how long have you been doing this?
A long, long time, about more than 40 years now.
And technology has come a long way.
Technology is just incredible at this point. We used to do mammograms, they were called Xerox, and from the same people that gave you Xerox or photocopying in the old days, except ours came out as blue and white paper, and they were just paper images. And the next big advance in mammography was we went to film screen, where they would take a photographic image in a plate, develop it just like you would a normal roll of film in the old days, and we would put them up on the board behind me here and take a look at them. We still find some of those, coming out of the woodwork every once in a while, for people who have saved their films, not that people are still doing those films. And now, just as your cameras have gone from rolls of film to digital, so has medical imaging. So ours are instantaneously just transmitted over from the machines, and it gives us much more options for working with the image, massaging it, and so that we can really work and magnify or do whatever we need to do to get the best option from it.
Is the accuracy much better?
The mammography remains the gold standard. Depending on what's the density in the patient's breast can make a big difference. If the woman has a lot of fat in her breast, some things just jump right out and it's very easy to see. Some people have very, very dense breasts. They look just like a rock.
Oh, wow.
And that can obscure lesions underneath it, and whether they're calcifications or masses. More masses because they're about the same density. In that situation, we would generally request the patient have an ultrasound.
Gotcha.
Because it just has a different ability to pull things out from underneath that.
So the alternate to the mammogram for the dense breast is the ultrasound.
It's an add-on. It by itself is not as diagnostic as the mammogram. It does not show calcifications very well, and a lot of malignancies in the breast are just calcifications, and it's very hard to see a mass.
How important is it for women to get their mammograms every year?
There's been controversies for 30 years on and off, should you get it every year? Should you get it between 40 and 50? And it really comes back to people think they should have it every year in the different societies, medical societies. Mm-hmm. For some people, there's even more. I mean, we ask people to do testing or give us their family histories so that we know if their mother, their aunts, their sisters have had breast cancer also, because in that situation, if you had a mother who had the breast cancer at age 30, we want to start your mammograms even earlier at age 30.
Is it easier to compare if you're getting a mammogram every year how the breasts are changing?
It is. I mean, we have unfortunate situations where someone will put it off for 5 years, and they come back and they have something the size of a hen's egg sitting in there that has appeared, and if we had seen it 4 years ago, they would be in a better situation, because the larger the cancer gets, the more likely it's going to go outside the breast.
So when people say, "Oh, I don't want to go because I'm afraid to see what they're going to find," I'm thinking that's the reason you're going to go, because early detection is the key.
Unfortunately, the old rule of it'll go away, I'll just wait, doesn't work with breast cancer.
So Doc, what is the ideal age to have your first mammogram?
They request that you have your first mammogram at least by age 40. Some medical societies say get one at 35 for a screening and then come back at 40 if there's nothing unusual there.
Right, and that's just, of course, if you don't have family history and you recommend it otherwise. But how about when a woman goes through menopause? How about the hormonal changes in their body? What does that do to the breast?
If you say you go a normal menopause, you're not going to take hormone replacement. The breast will become more and more fatty as time goes along. So it makes it easier for me as a mammographer to see what's there, because all that tissue that was hiding things goes away. A lot of people these days seem to like to take microdose replacements, which really doesn't hurt, but it's still going to go more fatty as time goes along.
Well, you've given us so much great information, Doc.
Yes,
we could
thank
sit
you
here
for
and
your
talk
time.
with you all day long. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know that my mammogram experience here has always been one of great comfort and very respectful to us, and the results have always been read and been always reassured. So if you're thinking about getting a mammogram, don't think any longer. Make sure you get to your doctor and get your prescription to come in. It takes a few seconds. It's very pleasant, and peace of mind, right,
Peace
Jeannine?
of mind. Thank you, Doc, and thank you to everyone
Thank
here
you.
at the Health Center. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on The Girls.